Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Into Uncharted Waters. I'm your host, Anya Bohill, and today's guest is Armani Latimer, a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader who has broken barriers while challenging the stigma around alopecia. Her journey is one of resilience, courage, and advocacy, and in this episode, we'll dive into how she navigates the spotlight, balances her passion for law, and empowers others to embrace their true selves. So, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Okay, the first question. So to start us off, when did you discover your passion for cheer and why did you choose like the Cowboys and what was like the audition process?
A lot of questions. Okay, here we go. So I started. Okay, let me explain. So we're called cheerleaders, but we actually dance, which I don't know why the NFL calls us cheerleaders, but most of the cheerleaders in the NFL are dancers. So I did start dancing when I was like 3 years old, and I did competitive dance since I was four up until I aged out in high school. And then when I went to college, I auditioned for my college dance team at the University of South Carolina, and I was on that dance team for 3 years. And then when I graduated, I knew I wanted to keep going and continue my dance career. And I have always loved the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders ever since I saw the show making the team. So I decided that I wanted to try out, but I didn't really know how because my senior year of college was during COVID and I didn't even know if they were having an audition process. Um, but then they made an announcement that they were doing virtual auditions, and I was like, okay, this is perfect. So submitted my video with over 1,000 other people, and I was one of the 20 plus girls who was invited into training camp. And so my training camp process was a lot different because it was COVID. Our training camp was shortened. We were in a bubble. So it's a lot different than what I've been through for the past 4 years. But my first year, they invited a little over 20 of us in. And then the rookie candidates, we were there in the bubble by ourselves for like a week and a half. And then they invited the vets in. And by that point, we had kind of gotten a few cuts from my initial rookie class. And then when they brought the vets in, we, obviously had more cuts, learning routines every day. And then they announced the team about a week and a half later after inviting the vets in. And yeah, I've been on the team ever since.
That's amazing. That's a long process, but it sounds so fun. What's been your favorite part of being on the team?
I would say the sisterhood, especially since I'm not from Texas, and I don't have a lot of family out here. It's nice to have a group of people who you think of as your second family, for, whenever you need something, a shoulder to cry on, because a lot of us aren't from Texas, so we have to have that second sense of community.
Sounds amazing. You said you auditioned for like the cheerleaders, but not only because of your passion for dance, but also because it's a platform for several women to advocate for personal issues. Can you please talk more about how like being a part of DCC has allowed you to use your voice for causes you care about?
Yeah. Like you said, one of the things that drew me there was the platform aspect of it. And I think a lot of times when people have a certain platform, they feel kind of timid to share the things that they're passionate about. And so I love the fact that the Dallas Cowboys organization allowed for, you know, the women on this team to have free reign on whatever they wanted to discuss that was very personal to them. So we have our My Cause, My Boots campaign, where each cheerleader is allowed to choose an organization or just something that is near and dear to her heart, that either affects themselves, someone in their family, or just someone that they're really close to, or just something that they want to bring awareness about. So I love that we have that aspect and we allow women to speak on those things because a lot of times we don't get a chance to do that.
For sure. So you've also mentioned being like inspired by the women before you who've worn that DCC uniform. Who are some of your like personal role models and what lessons have you learned from them that you still carry on today?
Yeah, so my mom has been one of my biggest role models, and that's kind of cliche because obviously I'm with her all the time. But I have seen her navigate through some really big struggles, and just navigate through life so beautifully, and the strength and grace and compassion that she continues to have, even though she has not always had it easy, is something that I genuinely admire. She she is currently getting her doctorate's degree right now, and she's gotten plenty of master's degrees since I was like 5 years old. So just the fact that she always wants to better herself, and continue to provide support and love for her family while also advancing in her career is something that I've always admired about her. And then just I've had some personal like mentors from girls who've been on the team before as well. Maddie Massengale was one of my biggest role models when I was auditioning for the team, just because I felt like our dance styles were the same and our personalities were the same. And meeting her in person, when it was my rookie year, it was her fifth year on the team. I was kind of starstruck. But just being able to learn from her and how she's able to move through life and navigate in this organization, that's been a blessing to me as well. So those are two. I have so many, but those are just one in my personal life and one in my professional life.
So what's been the most intense part of training camp or even just like whether it's like learning dances?
I'd say the most intense part is the new girls that come in. Um, it's kind of intimidating, but kind of not at the same time. It's intimidating in the fact that they're so fresh and their bodies aren't worn down by the process. So as you get older, your body tends to like slow down with healing and all that. Things take a little longer. I have to take a little longer to warm up my body. But the girls who are coming straight out of college, straight off of dance teams, they have these amazing talents, and I think it's beautiful that we are able to advance that much in the dance community. But at the same time, when when you're an older vet and you're looking at all the new shiny toys that are coming in, it can be a little intimidating for sure. But at the end of the day, I've been on the team for a while for a reason, and that's something that I always try to encourage the younger veterans who are trying out again. Just continue to bring what you can to the table, and so that helps with the anxiety of all the new people coming in.
Amazing. So recently, you've taken a big step of courage and made a powerful statement by cheering in a game without your wig. So what was going through your head during that moment, and what made you take that courageous step?
So I obviously have been dealing with alopecia for a pretty long time. I was diagnosed when I was 12 years old, and then just recently lost all of my hair a few years ago. And I've always been the type of person who, whenever I've gone through something, I want to help someone else go if they ever have to go through a similar situation. And I felt like it was just time to take a bigger step as far as spreading awareness for alopecia. And so I just kind of decided at the beginning of the season that I knew that this was something that I wanted to do. And really, really glad that I was able to do it. And there were a lot of emotions on the day of. I was pretty calm up until the point where it was actually time to go out. It kind of all just like hit me at once. There were a little bit of nerves. There were definitely some tears shed, as everyone could see from the videos. But it wasn't like sad tears, they were happy tears. Like being so proud of myself and knowing the journey that I went through to get to the point where I would even be comfortable dancing on a football field in front of thousands of people with no wig on. And just knowing that I had my family, my friends, and my teammates there supporting me 100% of the way. I had so much gratitude in that moment as well.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that was very inspiring and they drive society. And I think influence like yourself are always like constantly like under the spotlight. So how did you find really like the strength within to navigate that while dealing with something so personal? And how do you handle like lots of pressures and expectations that come with constant media attention?
I think as much as I would have loved to have been more outspoken about my alopecia growing up, I think being able to deal with it, just within the close group of people who I felt comfortable with, really allowed me to have my own confidence and my own um, just like my own power going into something like that. Because a lot of times when you go through things very publicly, you have to listen to everyone's opinions. And everyone else's opinions doesn't matter when it's something that's dealing with you. So the fact that I was able to go through that journey kind of on my own, and not really hear the extra outside opinions of others, I think that really helped build my confidence within myself. So that way, when I actually did take the leap of faith of stepping out onto the field, even if there was a bad comment or a nasty look about anything that I did, I knew that what I was doing was going to help so many other people live in their truth. And that's everything that mattered to me, honestly, in that moment. And when it comes to dealing with media and all of the expectations, I think just keeping like a level head and reminding myself all the time that I am just a human being. I am allowed to have mistakes. I don't have to be perfect.
No.
Um, yeah, no, it's the best thing that you can do, and I think a lot of people honestly forget that when we think of celebrities and influencers and things like that. We forget that they're people, that they go through things as well. And I think that was another thing that I really wanted to hone in on when I did dance without my wig, that I am a person. I go through my own struggles. And, I may be in this space where everyone thinks, oh, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders are perfect. They don't go through anything. They're all this or they're all that. And it's like at the end of the day, if you strip back everything, all the hair, makeup, the uniform, we're just a person. So that's how I try to go about, doing things on social media and listening to the outside noise.
For sure. So, what is the most important message that you want to convey to people? I mean, especially young girls and women who are dealing with self-esteem issues, especially like in the world of high school, where self-esteem is so important and it's something huge you see.
Yeah, my biggest my biggest piece of advice would be to not try and grow up so fast, because adulting is not it's not fun all the time. It may look cool when you're seeing people like travel and, oh, they don't have to go to school, but I'm pretty sure if you ask a big poll of adults, they'd be like, yeah, no, I'd love to go back to high school. So don't try and grow up too fast. These are the years that you really get a chance to experiment with yourself, figure out, what things you like to do, who your people are, who are the people that you would think are your safe space. Um, and honestly, just give yourself, oh, that's my dryer. Give yourself and give, oh my gosh, give yourself and other people so much grace. We're all going through different struggles every day that no one knows about. And you can't read a book by its cover, or even take someone at whatever chapter that they're on, because there's so many other chapters before that that you don't know about. That was probably like 15 pieces of advice all wrapped up into one. But I mean, I think it's just a beautiful combination of all the things that, we hear all the time, but it's so true. And I think if someone would have really honed that into me in high school, then my high school experience probably would have went a little better. So, I really hope that advice helps someone else.
For sure. I really hope you. So you've mentioned that you don't have any regrets because every experience is a learning opportunity. Has there been a specific moment or decision in your life that has like seemed like a big challenge or failure, but like in hindsight really taught you something and shaped who you are today?
Great question. Um, Honestly, the thing that comes to mind, just because we just talked about high school, is when I was applying to colleges, I had my dream school set. I just knew I was going to the school, and there was nothing that could turn me away from it. And I mean, I did end up going there. It was the University of South Carolina, but I wasn't accepted right off the bat. I was accepted into their bridge program. And I thought I was just such a failure because of that, because I wasn't automatically enrolled straight into the University of South Carolina, which at the end of the day, I still got my degree from the University of South Carolina. So looking back on it, it's like I shouldn't have been that upset. But in the moment, I was very distraught about it. Um, but having the conversation with my parents on if I even still wanted to go or not, I think I learned that just because you may get a no or a maybe, it doesn't mean like it's never going to happen. It just means it might be a little delayed in the way that it happens for you. So I really think like that's something that I've always carried with me. A no and a maybe is never a never. It's just maybe not right now. And everything happens for a reason. And I think that my first year of being in that bridge program was very beautiful. I gained friendships that I would not have had if I had not been in that bridge program. And I still talk to those friends to this day. So everything happens for a reason. And I really I love the lesson from that moment.
That's wonderful. So you've talked about your future as a lawyer and the
Mhm.
positive impact you want to make in your community. So how did you discover your love for law and how do you see your experience as a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader influencing your career in law?
That's a great question. I kind of always had this idea that I wanted to be a lawyer in in middle school. I remember in my English class we were reading, what were we reading? I forgot the book that we were reading, but we were reading a book and we were having a debate in our class about a passage in the book. And I remember just defending my side just so well. And my teacher was like, you could be a lawyer someday. And I was like, you know what? I really could. And just again, having like certain life experiences and knowing that I would want to help someone in the same way, or that was going through the same situation, I think also helped fuel that fire of wanting to be a lawyer one day. And so it's just really never left. And I'm excited to tap into that eventually. And I think just knowing that I could do something as strenuous and as elite as being a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, um, really will help me push past all of the doubts that I would have going to law school and wanting to be an attorney, and just knowing how to navigate different personalities, because there's 36 of us on the team. No one has the same personality. No one, processes feelings the same. No one processes, criticisms the same. So knowing how to navigate through that with a room of 35 other women, I honestly think it just really helps as far as what I would be dealing with as an attorney.
For sure. So high school is a time, filled with academic pressures and then like extracurricular commitments. So
Mhm.
as someone who balances cheerleading, advocacy, and a career path in law, how do you manage your time and energy?
It's all about providing time and space for each thing in your life. When I'm at work, I'm 100% focused on my work and the tasks that I have at hand. When I'm at practice or at a game or an appearance for DCC, I'm 100% focused on that. So, really strategizing and planning out what your focus is going to be on at what point in the day or even in the week or month, it really helps with your time management. I live by my planner. I would be absolutely a wreck without it. So, yeah, just creating time and space for everything, but also for yourself as well, making sure that you're getting the proper amount of rest. If you need to take a break and step away for a little while, that's really important as well, because if you run yourself into the ground, then you're not going to be able to give anything 100%.
For sure. So has there been a time, whether it was now or even in high school, where you've kind of like overloaded your plate and you had too much? And how did you manage that?
Um, yeah, there's been a few times, and I think just prioritizing the things that are most important first, or even the hardest things that I have to get done first. My dad always told me you have to get the most complicated or the hardest things done first, because those are the things that if you don't allow yourself enough time to get them done, then in crunch time you're going to be stressed about those things. So really that's something that I try to live by today, making sure I'm prioritizing the things that I know absolutely have to get done, or I know may take the longest, going ahead and knocking those out first, and then I can, take my time with the other things if I have space in my day or in my week. But yeah, there's definitely been times that I did not listen to that advice, and it did not end well for me. So you live and you learn. Obviously, any piece of advice that you get, you're gonna remember it, but you're not always gonna take it. But you'll come out on the other side, whether you overload yourself or you don't overload yourself. It's just what lesson are you gonna learn from each thing that happens.
So I guess on that note, then how do you manage and balance, your life, your professional life, and then also your like professional cheerleading side as well?
Yeah, I luckily luckily working a 9 to 5, um that's all, the time that you have for that job during the day. And then my DCC practice time doesn't start until 7. So really just knowing that whenever I clock out at 5 p.m., we're just going to leave my work day behind. And now I'm going to focus on my DCC day. And on the days where I have both, or they kind of overlap, or I may have to take off work a little early, I try to make sure I kind of stack up the day before and get more things done the day before I have to leave work early. Um, just so I make sure I'm not missing any deadlines or anything. So it's really, again, just prioritizing the things that absolutely need to be done. Having the time management skills to figure out, okay, these are the things I need to get done now. And then I'm going to put a little extra on my plate for this day, because I know tomorrow I only have half a day of work. And then the second half of my day is dedicated to DCC. Just knowing that those things happen and that I have to plan for those things.
Good. So everyone's had their moments of self-doubt, especially during like high school years. Did you ever question whether you were on the right path and capable of reaching your goals? And how did you overcome those feelings? And maybe what advice do you have to others who are struggling with self-doubt?
Yeah, definitely had a lot of times in high school where I didn't even know if I was doing the right thing. Like, am I taking the right classes? Um, there was a time in my senior year of high school, well, going into my senior year of high school, where I was, trying to decide if I even needed to take an extracurricular class in a specific subject or not, um, based off of what I wanted to go to school to do. I kind of switched from being an attorney to wanting to be an athletic trainer. So I think just knowing in hindsight, knowing that you're allowed to change your mind, you're allowed to um, change paths. Nothing you do is going to be right or wrong, but just you have to be confident in your decisions on what classes you take, or um, just knowing if you're going in the right path or not. And, you're not going to know until you know. And I know that's not the best advice, but you have to just keep living life until you figure out what is right for you and what isn't. Um, High school, again, is a time for you to find yourself, for you to find out what you like, what you're passionate in. You're not supposed to have it all figured out in high school. That would be my biggest advice. You're not supposed to have it all figured out. You don't even have it all figured out in college. Some people go to 4 years of college and then they never use the degree that they got in college. So that's why I encourage people in high school to just continue to do everything that you can without overstimulating yourself, to figure out what you do and what you don't like.
Yeah, so you learn as you go. That's a great
Yeah, pretty
advice.
much. Yeah.
So what kind of physical and mental preparation do you undergo to keep maintain your spot on the team or even just to stay in top shape?
Yes. So, we do have practices in season, but we don't have as many in the off season because football season is over. We do have practice once a week, starting at the beginning of March, up until right before auditions. So we will do that. A lot of people start to do extra training in the off season. I like to do strength training and cardio training in the off season, just to help build up lean muscle, keep my cardio and my stamina up. And then mental preparation is just when we have the downtime. I really take it to either travel home, spend time with friends just outside of DCC. There are a lot of girls who aren't on the team anymore that I'm still friends with, so I get a chance to hang out with them in the off season. So just really taking time for myself. I try and cook more in the off season because it's a lot harder to cook in season. Yeah, just really taking time to take care of myself. And I think that is what really helps the mental part of going back into another year of being on DCC.
Amazing. This last couple questions to wrap it up, but what has been one of your most memorable experiences you've had while being at DCC?
One of my most memorable experiences was the USO tour that we went on last year. So the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, the NFL, and other cheer teams, they partner with um, USO, and they allow cheerleaders to go overseas to different um, military camps to visit the troops who are protecting and serving our country. And that was another big reason that I wanted to audition for DCC, because of all of the community service aspects that went along with um, their military and USO service, because my dad's in the Army. So the fact that I got a chance to go and do that this past year, we went to South Korea and we just got a chance to talk to the troops. We did some performances for them. We did some kids camps over there. I got to talk to a few of the soldiers about my own personal experiences with being an Army brat. And it was just an overall beautiful experience. We got to taste some of the Korean food over there. Just being able to bring joy and a little piece of home to those soldiers who probably haven't been home for a while, can't always see their families, and just are feeling homesick, that we could bring them a little bit of joy, but also being able to, see what my dad did on day-to-day basis while he was deployed overseas, because I was really young when he was deployed overseas a lot, so I don't really remember a whole lot of what he did over there. So I think that really just was a full circle moment for me, really, and it's probably one of my top favorite moments of being on the team.
That's amazing. That sounds amazing too. You got to experience it all and
Yeah.
learn about your family while also being with the team.
Yeah.
So, if you were pursuing a career in law or cheerleading, what do you think you'd be doing right now? Do you have any fun or unexpected dream jobs?
Oh goodness. I've always wanted to be a backup dancer for Beyonce, Usher, anybody. So I think I if I wasn't wanting to pursue a career in law, or wasn't currently a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, I would probably be pursuing just a dance career, doing any and whatever show that I could. So yeah, that's it.
So fun. Okay, one last question.
Okay.
If you could leave one final piece of advice to our listeners about anything, what would you say?
I would say to enjoy every single moment that you have in a day, in a week, month, year. We only get one life on this earth. Um, we can't go back and change things. Um, we can't predict the future. We have to live in the moment. We have to soak up every single thing. And that's something that I really try to do in my life as well, is to just soak in the moments, just take in everything that life has to offer, and just be grateful that we can see another day. So yeah, that's the advice that I would leave.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here today. It was so amazing to talk to you and get to know you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I love chatting with you.
You too. Okay, we'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
Okay.